Hey everyone, quick announcement before the episode. This is our Halloween special, our biggest episode yet. So we're going to be posting the links to this episode on our Twitter, to our SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. Go on our Twitter account at Hooligan_radio, retweet that tweet that will be pinned to our profile promoting this episode, and make sure you're following us on Twitter. All you got to do is those two things, and you'll be entered to win a $25 Amazon gift card. We're going to do the drawing in the next episode to see who wins that. Again, all you have to do is go to our Twitter at Hooligan_radio, retweet our tweet that's promoting this Halloween special episode, and make sure you're following us on Twitter.
I'm not content with the content. I want more. I'm not content with the content. I want more.
Welcome everybody to Hooligan Radio, the podcast where we talk about movies, video games, cryptids, true crime, and everything else. To my right, I have the very sick but still with us, Zach.
I am here in spirit.
He's living on a prayer.
The Halloween season has really gotten to him. And to my left, I have Isaiah.
What up? This is a big, huge deluxe episode for you. I hope you enjoyed our bonus episode. We are also joined by my favorite guest so far.
Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, guys. Alex Daniels. You still go by that?
Yeah, I still go by that.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm going to put it in the title. So.
So, there you go.
I guess you like me more than American Spirits. Sorry,
Yeah,
American
well,
Spirits.
they had their own episode.
Oh,
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
That was more like a special interview.
It was an
than
interview. Yeah, I haven't interviewed you yet. Get big and I'll interview you.
Let me just start off by saying that I hate the Halloween franchise. Just after all those Halloween reviews Josh and I did, it was rough. It was really rough.
I thought you were going to say, let me just say I hate being here.
Thanks for welcoming me, but I hate it.
That's just implied by all of our guests.
Yeah. I dropped many hints. So, let's talk about Hereditary. Isaiah, you finally saw it. You're the last one to see it.
Yeah.
And you did not like it? Or what are your thoughts?
I thought it was okay. Zach sat across the table from me every other week for like a month and was like, it's the greatest movie I've seen since Grave Encounters.
I'm sitting across the table from you now, and I will say that right now. It's the best scary movie I've seen since
and
Grave
I
Encounters.
watched it, and I sat there, and I tried so hard to just, like, pay attention, and I was just...
So
it was good.
Were you bored, or what? Was it too slow? Was it not scary enough? Like, what about it did you not enjoy?
It felt predictable to me. Like, there were some plot points that weren't predictable.
And let's go just into full spoilers here. We've all seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out for months. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Time code's down below if you don't want to hear spoilers. So you can go full in as much as you want.
Yeah, so, like, the scene where the little girl, like, is having allergy attack and her throat's closing up or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on. Where are you going that you're on a country road? You go from a suburban home
I did not expect
to a
this.
country road, driving your sister who would die. Dude,
So you have a problem.
What college high school party that you drink at has cake?
That's true. When they were like cutting up the nuts, I thought it was drugs at first. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So wait. So you have a problem with like the logic of the movie, is what you're saying? Or?
yeah. Well, there's just like, I was just like, whatever. There's
Yeah.
some things like...
It does make a lot of stretches and reaches during the movie to make the
To make
plot
it happen.
points hit.
To make it work.
Yeah.
I can agree with
I
you
like...
there.
If... There would never be in a situation where my mom would ever convince me to take my little sister anywhere that I was going socially.
Yeah.
Sure.
But if she did, and my sister was having an allergic reaction to anything, I wouldn't drive her. I would either look for an EpiPen or call an ambulance.
Sure. Well, keep in mind
Because
too.
I wouldn't know what to do.
Sure. I mean, he was also high out of his mind when that was happening. But for me, I always try to... You could pick apart any movie. I mean, you could pick apart Jaws. You know, you could pick apart the greatest movies of all time. So I try to not let I try to give the movie plot convenience. I'll still make fun of movies for plot convenience, but I try not to let that cloud my judgment. But I totally agree. I get what you're saying, though. Definitely.
Yeah, there's a scene earlier in the movie where she's eating a candy bar and the mom's like, oh, is there nuts in that? And right away you're like, okay, this is coming to play.
Yeah.
Like,
So Alex, you saw it twice, right? In the theater and then on DVD?
yes, and this is one of those few moments where I liked it when I saw it at home as compared to in the theater.
Really?
Like, in the theater, like, I don't know if I was expecting just more jump scares or more, because it felt like there were some long drawn out moments where I'm like, is something gonna happen? But after knowing like the context of like everything at the end, and then seeing like them talk about it like in the beginning, like when the mom's like at the group therapy thing, she talk about like, oh, my brother was insane. I was saying our mother was trying to put people inside him, which is basically what happens to the boy in this. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool, and the creepy images are freaking amazing. And like it's kind of just like The Shining, where The Shining is one jump scare, and I feel like this movie is one jump scare. So I feel like this is our generation's The Shining, where there's not a lot of jump scares. There's a ton of creepy scenery and everything. Like the part where she's talking to the boy in the bed, and it's like, oh, I didn't mean it. And all of a sudden they're drenched, and all of a sudden she has a match. You're like, whoa. Like, stuff like that was really cool. Or when the mother is sawing her head off and just staring right at him. Like, there's no, like, bah, but it was like, whoa, this is terrifying.
So, let's defend the movie, Zach, I guess. So, Zach, why did you love this movie so much? Right? I mean, we've kind of already gushed over it a little bit, but just again...
I guess I just really like it because it's not like all the traditional, like, jump scare movies that it has been over the last couple of years. Like, during the entire movie, I don't think there was a real point in the movie where I felt comfortable. Like, it just has that uneasy, uncomfortable feeling the entire time, which I really like in the movies. I love the super big twist when she gets her head knocked off during the thing, because you're just like, well, I thought that was the entire movie, and now she's dead.
And it just sat there, like letting us register what happened, too, and I love that, too. I was like, the kid's just sitting there staring forward because he doesn't know what...
That might be my favorite scene of the movie, where she gets her head knocked off, and... you kind of know what happened, but you're not sure what happened, and you just see him sitting there, and then just like a tear comes down his face, and then he just starts slowly driving. Like in the theater, like my stomach was in knots. Like I was like, what? And then he just goes home and just goes to sleep. Like I was, and then you just hear the mother wakes up. The movie doesn't even show you.
It's all from his perspective.
He goes to the car and you just hear her scream, and I almost laughed. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that was really intense.
Like I was like, I get. So that's to kind of go off what you're saying. I mean, the movie to me, you can watch a depressing movie. There's plenty of depressing movies where you cry, whatever. Air Bud. But but this movie wasn't just like, oh, let's cry the whole time because it's depressing. It just made me feel things that it's like, I've never even felt that way in real life. Like I've been fortunate enough, I haven't, lost family members or anything like that. And it's like, I feel like this movie like made me relate to that, even though I've never experienced it. That's how real like I felt it was. Mm-hmm. And then also real quick with like the jump scares and everything, we've seen plenty of horror movies like It Comes at Night is another example. I feel like that movie had no payoff. It was just like an hour and a half of like, okay, something gonna happen, and then like a little bit happens, and then it's over, and you're like, oh, fuck you, you spent $10 on this. But I felt this movie, it's kind of like that the whole time, where I feel like, am I gonna get dicked over again? Not get that payoff. But the last 15 minutes to me paid it all off. Like just crazy shit happens the last 15 minutes. The dad fucking getting set on fire, the mom banging her head on the thing and cutting her head off.
The naked people.
Yeah, exactly. People. So, or one of the most scary scenes for me. I call him Alex Wolf. I forget that. Peter, I think is his name in the movie. Yeah. When he wakes up in the bed and you just see the mom in the corner of the room, like just in the corner, but the camera doesn't like focus on it or anything. You just see it, and he has no idea. And the whole time you're like, you're fucked, you're fucked, you're fucked. Yeah. And any other horror movie would go, but it doesn't do that. Yeah. She just leaves the room, and it pays it off later. So I'm getting chills right now. So that is why I loved it. It's my favorite movie.
That's why I loved it too.
Yeah. So
I think that I would have the reverse of what Alex had, where if I think I would have enjoyed it better if I would have saw it in theaters. But like, I'm the worst when it comes to movies. Like, if I'm not in the theater, my ability to pay attention to a movie is like, oh, the music is welling. I should probably look.
Yeah.
Like it was tough to pay attention to at home. It always is. But here's the thing: I would have rather seen it again in theaters, but obviously I couldn't at the time I saw it. Mm-hmm. But just like at the end, you see the naked guy like staring at him, like with that can't see me, but I'm making like a big-eyed face here. Earlier in the movie, when the little girl goes up to the grandma's casket, in the background you can see the guy staring at her. Mm-hmm. Like, so little stuff like that is awesome.
And then he comes back later in the movie naked.
Yeah, and it's him staring.
Yeah, and it's those little things. That's one last thing I'll say is like, the reason I love this movie so much is it ended, and the ending kind of leaves you like, a lot of people don't like it because of this. The ending leaves you like, what? And then like I'm in the car on my way home and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh fuck, wait a minute. And then I just like, it keeps clicking in your head and you're like, oh my god, and then you get it, and you're like, holy shit.
Like the mom like at the funeral was like, oh, I'm surprised to see this many faces here. It's like it's literally all the cult members.
Yeah. And they're all at the meeting too to help with her. The therapeutic meetings.
Yeah, the one who's like friends with her mom.
Well, no, they're all there. Those are the same naked people.
Are they?
Yes.
All of them? Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
I just think that I was too late. If I would have went and seen it the first time Zach said to see it, and I would have went and saw it in the theater, it would have been probably good. But hearing that it was amazing 20 times before actually seeing it, and being like, all right, I'm ready to be amazed, and then just being whelmed, it was just like...
Yeah, because I went in with no expectation, honestly low expectation, so I was blown away. That's one of the biggest things, of movies. But how you feel about being distracted watching movies at home is exactly how I feel about books. Like, I would love to read books. Like, I've had it for, like, over a year, and I want to read it so bad.
That's a good book.
But I get, like, half a page down, and I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like, oh, let's go on Twitter. Like,
Yeah, right.
Luckily, I'm able to watch movies, but I totally understand where you're coming from. Because it's, like, especially at home, like, because we're just so addicted to technology, I guess. I don't know what it is, but, like, I'm just, like, sometimes I'll be watching a movie at home, and be 20 minutes in and be like, nope, can't do it right now, and just go do something else.
Oh, yeah,
So,
some days you just can't do it.
it's like the theater, you're forced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you paid fucking $15,
You better-
Apple announced that they're making a new streaming platform. This is stuff
Hi, Carly.
that they planned. stuff that they've planned. They have a multi-year deal with Oprah Winfrey, which isn't my thing, but if it's your thing, whatever. That's good. A children's show from the creator of Sesame Street, a science fiction anthology show. Oh, they're rebooting the science fiction anthology show, Amazing Stories. I don't know if you guys ever saw that show. It's similar to Twilight Zone. They're making a Hunger Games style dystopian show. The director of La La Land, Damien Chazelle, is making a series, and then M. Night Shyamalan is making a space drama series. So that's just some of the stuff they have going on. So it's not like they're just starting it with nothing. They have stuff planned. But here's the biggest twist. So this is their gimmick, right? You don't pay for the service. It just comes on every iOS device. So if you have an iPhone, if you have an iMac, if you have an Apple TV, it's just part of it. It's for free. You just get to watch it.
Yeah, I saw that.
But so there's no monthly fee. But then at the same time, if you don't have an Apple device, you can't just order it and put it on your Amazon Fire TV. Yeah. You have to have an Apple product. So they're doing a little bit of a different business model behind it. So what do you guys think of that?
I'm glad there's really no monopoly anymore with any of this stuff, especially in streaming. But it's like with so many different streaming services, it's like you better have something really good, because like DC threw out theirs and like all they have is this Titan show, which is actually apparently good. I don't know if I've ever seen it, but I'm not gonna throw down another $5, $7, $10 whatever it is for it, especially with Disney announcing one, and I don't even have Hulu or Amazon yet. It's like getting Shudder, like that's $6 a month, and that took me months to decide to get. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like but if it's free, like I have an iPhone, so I'll be able to watch it with my regular, iPhone 7, whatever.
I have my problem. I've never been an Apple fan, which has been voiced by me a million times. But my biggest problem is they have this thing, and tech reviewers call it the wall. Once you're in Apple's walls, getting out of Apple's walls is almost impossible. So you get people in based on this new service. They want to see these shows because you have big people like M. Night Shyamalan or the creator of Sesame Street or whatever. And then they're like, oh, well, then I'll just get an iPhone because it works with my Apple TV better. Oh, I'll just get a Mac. And then you're in there, and then, like, they have you forever. Because it's like countless people have said to me and to other people I've seen, like, talk about it on YouTube. When you switch from an Apple device to an Android device, you have like months of time where you need to work with your phone company and Apple and like your actual device trying to find out why you're not receiving all of your text messages.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Which is brutal because like text messages are mostly how people talk now. So
sure.
If you're missing out on important text for months or even a month, you're kind of stuck in this place. So like putting this lore of like, hey, look what we have inside the wall.
Yeah.
With no way to let it up.
That's scary.
It's kind of like that show Under the Dome, right? Under the Apple Dome.
Yeah, right? Under the Apple Dome, basically.
The thing I'll say to that, to be devil's advocate, and obviously, I am an Apple fan, if you like it, if you like I love it, right? Like I've never had a Mac before. I just got one, and now I'm like, how have I never had a Mac? Like everything from my phone is instantly on there, and vice versa. Just shit like that, whatever. If that's what you like, though, I mean, it's not Apple's fault for creating a product that people want to use and connected to each other. You know, like, is it hard to leave once you're in there? Sure. But, I mean, isn't that their job as a company to have good products that you don't want to leave? I mean, I think it's interesting that they're making a streaming service that you don't have to pay for. I think that's kind of risky because would I buy an iPhone if I didn't have one to watch a streaming service? No. But will I buy an Apple TV now? Maybe, because I want to watch it on my TV. So I don't even know how much an Apple TV is.
Oh, the little box with
you used to have it, right?
My mom has it, yeah. And it's a great thing. I love it. You know, you can watch everything on there, but I don't have one myself, and I'm surviving. You know?
Yeah. So, but my question to you would be, do you blame Apple for that? Do you say no, Apple, don't do that? Like, what is the downside outside of it's difficult to leave?
My thing, the thing that bothers me the most is coming from the tech standpoint that I do, is every single iteration of new Apple devices makes it more alluring for people to go to them, which is fine. That's how they should be running as a business. But it also makes it that much harder on people who have to support those people, like Zach and I would. Like, if you come to me and you tell me your Mac is broken, guess what I'm going to tell you? I can look at it for 15 minutes and tell you that you need a new $3,000 Mac.
Yeah.
Like, is that a bad business model?
No.
No, exactly.
I mean, what are things you guys liked about Halloween?
I like that it didn't try to be the old Halloween. Like, it didn't try to be too 80s for me, or whenever it came out. Was it 80s?
78.
78, yeah. So,
but it still had that like somewhat retro feel to it, which I enjoyed.
yeah.
Yeah, the beginning had a very cool opening title sequence, which you don't really see in movies anymore. It showed like a pumpkin inflating, like showing like, hey, remember how bad Resurrection was? Remember how bad the Rob Zombie movies were? Like, we're going to take it back to how it was, but with new elements.
So that was the meaning behind the pumpkin.
I think that was the meaning behind the
pumpkin. Yeah, like we're resurrecting a dead franchise.
A good resurrection.
Yeah, I honestly think the opening scene into the title sequence of the movie was my favorite part of the movie, and that's not like because the rest of it was bad or anything, but I just love that opening. You've seen it in the trailers. The two podcasters go to visit Michael at the prison and try to get him to speak, and the one guy's screaming, and it cuts right into the Halloween theme. Like, I got chills when the opening title scene started. So I really liked that. What did you guys think of Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to play Laurie Strode in this movie?
I really liked it, but she was pretty crazy.
I think she killed it. Yeah, but the character that was written for her was basically that she was supposed to be crazy.
100%.
But she played it really well.
She's amazing. She's a great actress, but just to think that the events of Halloween 2 didn't happen, and she still messed up over this one small. It's not a small encounter, but it was one night, and not that much happened to her. But if the events of Halloween 2 did happen, I'd understand it a bit more. It just seems a bit ridiculous how much she did to fucking prepare.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and trying to stay positive at the beginning, but I do agree that it's like they wanted you to believe all the Halloween stuff still happened, but we're going to pretend like none of it did.
Yeah, like H2O happened, which would make even more sense.
Yeah.
But it didn't. None of it happened.
And I understand it would be confusing to be like, okay, this one, H2O, and the first one happened. Like, I get that's confusing, so you just say, it's just the first one. But it was even one of the teenagers said in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler, it's just one line, but he's like, he killed a few people, it's not a big deal. Because when you think about it, just the first Halloween movie, that's all that happened. And then to say he got caught and arrested that night, it's even more so okay, well, yeah, he just killed a few people and then got arrested. Is it really that big of a deal?
And supposedly nothing happened for 40 years.
But she knew she was coming back.
Yeah.
I was hoping, and the movie was kind of marketed as her being the protagonist, the main character, but she really isn't. It really more so focuses on her granddaughter for at least a bulk of the movie. And what did you guys think of the granddaughter? I thought the performance was fine, but I didn't care about the granddaughter.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I care about Laurie Strode.
This is the thing with every horror movie. You don't care about the characters really. It's tough. They try really hard.
They try really hard.
They try really hard, and it's she's having trouble with her boyfriend. You don't care. But
You don't care.
but when you put Jamie Lee Curtis with her, I started to pay attention more. But just the scenes of her by herself, I'm like, enough. That's enough.
And you can't even say, oh, well, they needed to sell the movie with teenagers because all of the marketing for the movie was Jamie Lee Curtis up against Michael Myers. Like, why couldn't it have just been that movie?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go see the new Halloween movie for the teenager.
What did you guys think about all that?
Coming from my standpoint, not having any attachment to any of the Halloween movies other than you guys were doing a review, so I got roped into this. No. It was okay. Like, I didn't have any problems with it. My thing is like, I don't know if they're trying to set up for something else or if they were trying to leave that door open. I don't know. I mean, focusing on somebody who's not as old as the grandmother is probably like, there's only so much you can do there.
The only thing I thought of was like the granddaughter was like how you can bring in like I guess some like the newer audience, like how you can bring in some of the younger kids who like really didn't grow up on Halloween or like have a full attachment like you said to the movie. So they're like, oh, I can at least relate with this person during the movie and still end up at the
Like someone who's that age. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But I think this movie, and Alex, you can tell me what you think since we've seen most of the movies. I think this movie, it very well could be the best sequel to Halloween, but it's not really like it's going up against that much competition. Like,
Exactly,
It was
yeah.
just a fine movie, therefore it's better than most of the sequels.
I can't put it any better. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, when you say it's like the best sequel, like, whoa, hold on. It's like, well, that's a big statement with all these other movies. But then you go back and look at these other movies, you're like, oh, yeah, I can understand. But Halloween 2 is good. I like Halloween 2. It's fine. But that's all we're comparing it to, because Season of the Witch isn't really a sequel to it. And Halloween 4 through Resurrection are all the same shit.
Yeah, and I liked Halloween 4, but as more of a guilty pleasure, like, oh, it's a fun, dumb horror movie.
Yeah.
As where this one was a more competent, horror movie. So overall, I mean, tell me guys what you guys think, but I think overall we all thought it was fine to a good movie, correct?
Yeah.
Fine. That's
Good,
exactly
okay to a good movie.
So, I mean, Alex, I'll ask you, since you're a big fan of Halloween, did that disappoint you? Did you go into it wanting it to be a great Halloween movie?
I mean, you always want to see a great Halloween movie. Like, I liked how it played to the original. Some parts were like, oh, that's clever. Oh, I like that. And some parts were like, okay, that's new. But a lot of it made sense of why it happened. Because, like, you see the trailer, like, oh, the bus crashed. Oh, of course the bus crashed. But, like, the reason why the bus crashed is something we'll get into, which I really liked. But I feel like it did what every sequel / remake should do. Like, do some stuff new and play to the OG fans. It can't be 100% one way, 100% the other way. I feel like there's got to be a balance, and it did a good job of that.
Yeah, it's like it did both of those things pretty well. It just didn't do anything amazingly. It just did it pretty
Which
good.
I didn't expect it to do anything amazingly. You can't please. There's very few things that'll please like all the fans. Like, some people want it to be the same exact thing over and over again, and some people want something completely different, and someone's gonna be pissed off about it either way.
Yeah. So this movie's extremely successful, box office wise, critically. So do you guys think there will be a sequel? And if so, do you think it'll go a completely new direction, or what do you guys? We'll start with you guys. What do you think?
I think that it's pretty much set up for a sequel with the new characters that were introduced. But all of the money in the entertainment industry right now is in making movie universes. So I would be surprised if they were like, yeah, we just made that remake to just make it.
Just
Instead
make
of
one,
being like, now here's 3 more Halloween movies, and then in 20 years, whenever they're releasing the remake
Of this
of Halloween 2, the original,
Halloween 60 years
and
later.
you guys are like, we're gonna redo all of them. I'm like, that's 15 movies. I'm not involved.
Like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen H2O, but the ending of H2O is Michael Myers' head cut off, and somehow they found a way to change it to make a sequel. So I'm sure with the end of this one, there's going to be many more sequels, and Nick Fury's going to show up with Leatherface, and there's going to be a whole universe coming.
What do you think, Zach?
I also think there's going to be a sequel. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to find a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any other thoughts about anything else, or spoiler free, or is that pretty much sum it up?
Spoilers.
So we're gonna get into spoilers, but guess what? It's not gonna be here. It's actually gonna be in the Hooligan Radio YouTube channel. So go check out our very detailed spoiler thoughts after you've seen Halloween.
As everybody knows, I've been playing a ton of Call of Duty. and Call of Duty's biggest rival is Battlefield, and they're supposed to have a Battle Royale, and everybody's like, oh, Battlefield's Battle Royale is going to be so good. Trey talks about it in the bonus episode, and I'm not saying it's not going to be, but they've delayed it. So the game will be coming out still this November. And then you won't have your Battle Royale until spring, which doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in people like me who are skeptics, because you're like, oh, so the Battle Royale wasn't ready for launch. Does that mean you haven't been working on it the whole year? Mm-hmm. Does that mean you found a fatal flaw? You want to be more transparent in why, and they haven't really kind of said, we're delaying it because we want to give you more content. That would be different. But
did they mention why they were delaying it? Was
no, they haven't really said anything.
Delayed.
And that's what's really weird too is I don't think I've ever had a company say that they're delaying a game mode within a game.
Yeah.
But not the overall
But
game
not
as a
the
whole.
whole game.
Like, did Call of Duty ever say, oh yeah, Call of Duty so-and-so's coming out, but Zombies is
But Zombies is going to come out in 2 months.
Like,
You're
what?
like, no.
Isn't Zombies just a... What? Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're buying Battlefield because you're excited for a Battlefield Battle Royale. Why buy it next month? I'll just buy it in May, or whenever it comes out. You know,
which puts up this amazing stand that Call of Duty can make. Is a lot of people who play Call of Duty right now on PC are saying, I wish that they offered each mode for $20. If in March, after the overwhelming sales through Christmas is done, they're like, we're going to release just Blackout for $20. And then they're like, what up, Battlefield?
Yeah.
Like, we're just snipe some more of your more players. They don't have to buy the game now. They can just buy our Battlefield, like our Battle Royale for just people who want to play Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I've never been a Battlefield player myself. I definitely have come across people that have always been more Battlefield than Call of Duty. But no, I mean, I would have been disappointed. I don't even play Blackout that much, and I would have been disappointed if Call of Duty had said, okay, well, Black Ops 4 is coming out, but Blackout's not coming out till March. I'd have been like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I don't even play Blackout that much. I play multiplayer, so I definitely understand. But I'm sure Battlefield, who is it, EA? Yeah. I'm sure they didn't want this to happen. I mean, do you think so? Like, what would they gain from it?
EA is the devil. So, I don't know what they gained from it, but...
Hey, yeah, we got this brand new car coming out, but the rear doors aren't going to be available until. It's like, why would you release something like?
Yeah,
they obviously want their Christmas money.
I mean, yeah, they're going to get. People are still going to buy it. It's not like, oh, none of us are buying it. There's going to be some sales, but it's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like I don't know what they could be doing, but it's EA. There's a reason. Like, I know that there is a reason, and I know that they're not telling us. Yeah. If they were like, we noticed there's like a critical flaw in our Battle Royale, and we have to push it back, then people would be like, oh, okay, I understand. But they're just like, it's just not.
It's just delayed.
Not going to be there on the drop day. What's up?
Delayed.
So what's going on with the game?
Delayed.
Delayed. Any more details on that? No more questions. Sir, the press conference just started. Okay.
So speaking of Battle Royale, I have not opened up Fortnite since getting Call of Duty. Is Fortnite dead, or what's going on with
Fortnite isn't dead yet. We'll talk. We'll think. By this time next year, we'll see who still talks about Fortnite. But they did an interesting thing. They have a Halloween mode right now. It's like Fortnightmares or something like that. It's trying to like be punny. I don't know. But what's really funny to me is in the new game mode, there's like zombies that spawn, and I was like, huh, interesting. Call of Duty's Blackout has zombies that spawn, and then I got flamed on Twitter like, yeah, H1Z1 had zombies too, and I'm like, yeah, well, H1Z1 nobody played, so. Yeah. But I was like, it's interesting. I don't know. From what I've heard, not a lot of people enjoy it. But also, a lot of the people that I listen to when they talk, they play it competitively. And throwing in random mobs makes it difficult to stay competitive because you can get killed by something random.
I mean, you gotta give them credit for trying something, especially with Call of Duty coming out. It's like, and they don't want to fall into irrelevancy. Like, hey, we're doing this, and it's Halloween season, just something. And if you're wondering where Zach is, he stepped out. He's not feeling too well. So
Zach is very sick.
So I'm gonna talk about some conspiracy theories right now. I'm gonna fill in for him.
So, Yeah, I mean, Fortnite. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that still play it. I don't even know what to describe him. A younger person that I know.
Your son.
Always asks me still, oh, have you played Season 6 of Fortnite? Are you playing Fortnite? And every time I'm like, no, I should play Call of Duty. And it's like, so there are people out there that still definitely play it. Probably younger kids who haven't bought in Call of Duty or their parents will buy them Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Bought in? That's not a word.
No, it's not.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, how long do you think a year from now? I mean, a year from now will it even be around, or what do you think?
I think that it'll always have a player base. Like, the thing that I've noticed about myself is I am very easily to move from game to game, but I don't think that everybody is that way. I think that there are people who are like, this is my game, I'm going to play it forever. I mean, there's still people playing StarCraft and stuff like that. And
I'm still playing Skyrim.
yeah, he's still playing Skyrim. I saw you tweet, like, everybody's still playing Skyrim in 2018?
Yep.
Like, yeah, they just released a new version of it last year.
Yeah, I honestly
For the
didn't.
Switch.
I honestly didn't know. Like, is he saying this like because he's still playing it, or in a condescending way? Like,
Yeah.
who's still playing Skyrim in 2018?
No.
I didn't know how to read it.
I'm still playing my Xbox 360 version in
That
2018.
sounds funny.
Um,
I bet you that there's still stuff to do, too.
I'm still finding new stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
You all right?
I'm there.
Okay.
I'm here.
So you came just in time to talk about the PlayStation Classic.
Hey, let's do this.
I'm pumped. So I couldn't think of any games that I was like, man, I really want these classic PlayStation games. And then I saw the lineup of the 20 games for the PlayStation Classic, and I was like, oh shit, yes I can!
Right?
So to name the ones that I'm probably the most excited for, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I would play that anywhere and anytime. Twisted Metal, that's on there. I'm pumped to play that again.
What about Rayman?
The original Rayman would
I'm
be
pumped for
interesting.
that
I can't even tell you.
I'm excited for Rayman. The original Rainbow Six is on
Yeah,
there.
that's one that jumped out to me. I remember playing Rainbow Six games on the original Xbox, but never all the way back on the PS1. So that would be interesting.
And then also Tekken 3, just because I love the Tekken series.
Yeah, I feel like this system does a good job of like appealing to everyone. Because me, I've only had an Xbox and Nintendo systems my entire life. That's all. I've never owned a PlayStation 1. But with something like this, I don't have to seek out an original PlayStation 1. I can get this and try these games out for the first time. So that's why I'm excited for it. But I'm sure you guys are excited because the nostalgia factor, which is why I got the Super NES Classic. But for me, I might actually get this one because I've never played any of these games.
Wow, they even have Persona on there. I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
one
I don't
at
know if
first.
that's the original Persona. I don't really follow the Persona series, but that's really cool.
I agree with you, Alex, but at the same time, I mean, I had a PS1, but like I was so young, Like a lot of these games, like Twisted Metal is really the only one that sticks out to me. That's in the first Metal Gear Solid is like, wow, I played those games a lot as a kid. But there's like a ton of games on here that I have even no idea what they are. So I'm looking forward to buying it and playing these games that like fucking Jumping Flash, Mr. Driller. I don't know what that shit is.
Yeah, same with the Super
Okay,
NES.
so there's a few more games. There's the Grand Theft Auto, original Grand Theft Auto. It's completely overhead. It's pretty sweet. I played a ton of that. Intelligent Cube. It's a puzzle game. I actually didn't know what it was by the name, and then I saw the picture that you sent, and I was like, oh shit, that game haunts my dreams. The Jumping Flash. I've played that game before. It's actually pretty fun. Well, it was fun when I was a kid. I don't know how fun it'll be. That game, Siphon Filter, it was basically one of the first Splinter Cell-like games I remember playing.
Oh.
It was like... It would be like the bridging the gap between Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell. Like,
Ooh, Splinter Cell. I forgot about that game.
yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
The thing that's going to like be... Everybody's going to be like, oh, Resident Evil, dude. I love our Resident Evil games. They're going to go play Resident Evil 1. And you're going to be like, why are all of the cameras stationary and I have to run in different directions towards or away from them? So, like, what's really... Yeah. So imagine if you're running down a hallway, right? And the camera is, like, in the middle of the hallway. And you go to run... So you're like pointing the stick towards the camera, and then it shifts from the same camera's point, but then you have to shift the way that you're pointing the stick so that you keep running in the same direction. Whenever I used to play the game I think I used to play it on Genesis, I used to get caught in camera things where I would be like, okay, I need to run forward, and then it would change cameras. Then I need to pull the stick back so I'm still running forward from the other camera. So
know what other game pissed me off with that? Crash Bandicoot did it
Yeah.
all the time.
The new one, they really fixed it a lot.
Did they?
Have you played the
I haven't
remastered?
played the new one, no.
That's what I love about these remastered games, man. They fix that shit. I'm excited for Spyro, but
oh, dude.
all right. Anything else about the
We had an
PS1?
episode before that.
Just go buy it.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I was on the fence before, but now I'm
I
definitely.
already pre-ordered it like last month.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I like the mini console aesthetic.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have all of them very soon.
Yeah. I just got a new TV stand. I'm excited to
To stick them all in there.
All right, see it, rent it, stream it. So before I get started with the see it, Alex, you saw Bad Times at the El Royale, right? How was that?
I did. I loved that one. It felt like 3 Tarantino movies in one, but not directed by Tarantino.
Are you a specific 3, or just you're saying 3 different
It
movies?
felt like Reservoir Dogs, felt like Pulp Fiction, it felt like The Hateful Eight.
I need to see this.
You do need to see this. And like, it has Chris Hemsworth, Jeff Bridges, John Hamm, and like each character is so defined, and each character like has their backstory, and like they're all meeting up at this hotel, which is very Hateful Eight like type.
Mm-hmm.
And we're bouncing back and forth, which is very Pulp Fiction type, and very Reservoir Dogs is kind of like a whodunit almost, just a little bit, and like Chris Hemsworth in a role you don't expect, like everyone is like not who you expect, and it's just. You have to. I don't want to spoil it. You have to see it.
I'm hearing a lot of good things about this movie, but it's like it bombed. Like no one was seeing this movie. I don't even know if it's still playing in theaters, but
Yeah.
it's like no one saw it. Every time I see like critics or even audiences talking about it, like everything's been positive. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I don't know if it's the marketing or what it's been, but like why did you decide to see it? Like what made you want to go see it?
Well, one, Chris Hemsworth, Jeff Bridges, and just from the trailer, like it looked. John Hamm. John Hamm is the reason. No, but it just looked interesting. Like very few times has a trailer like hooked me in. Like one of the trailers that really hooked me in was Gone Girl, and I knew nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Went it, saw it, loved it. This movie, knew nothing about it. Saw the trailer, went, saw it, loved it. So it's just one of those rare occasions where like the trailer does its job pretty well. And I don't know, maybe because Halloween. It was close to the Halloween release. Like,
Yeah.
what else came around the same time?
I mean,
Question,
Halloween,
when did it
Venom.
release?
Venom.
Came out, I think.
Yeah, I think Venom.
I mean, see, you say like you saw the trailer. I didn't even see a trailer for this movie before any movie I saw.
Really?
I didn't see it online. The only thing I've seen is TV spots, watching TV. So I think maybe it is the marketing. I don't know, but yeah, definitely seek it. I'm gonna try to seek it out. If I can't catch it in theaters, definitely I'm gonna get it once it comes out.
Yeah.
I saw First Man. I tried to see it to get it in the last episode, but I couldn't do it. I went and fucking saw it. Forced myself to go see it. And I don't get it, man. This is another one surprising me, not doing well at the box office. I mean, there's a fake controversy about the American flag. Whatever. Trolls on Twitter were mad because there's no scene of an American going planting the American flag in the moon, but it's in the movie. You see the American flag on the moon in the movie.
Spoiler alert, there's an American
Yeah,
flag.
and
Spoiler,
spoiler alert.
It's not the real
Spoiler alert, we get there. But the movie is very American. Like, there's like a scene in particular where like they're talking to people on TV, like news is talking to people about going to the moon, and they're talking to a French woman, and she's like, "Oh, I just knew the United States would be able to do it." Like, it's a very patriotic movie. So for anybody to try to use that is ridiculous. Anyway,
I gotta see it.
But
Was that like a real, actual, interview, or was it just
it looked like
enacting?
it looked like real footage. Like I think they're showing like real footage on a TV, in the background. But anyway, I loved the movie. I mean, no surprise. Damien Chazelle directed it. Made La La Land was my favorite movie of that year. And then Ryan Gosling. I've loved everything he's done. La La Land. He was in The Nice Guys, which is a really great movie. The Big Short, which we talked about. And then what was he in last year? I forget what he was. Oh, Blade Runner 2049, which some people don't like, but I really loved. So, but this movie, I was like, all right, I don't think I don't really give a shit about Neil Armstrong. Going into it, but this movie made me care about Neil Armstrong. You saw it too, Alex. What did you think of it?
I really liked it, but it's also like when it comes back to the box office thing, it's one of those things where what's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna build up to him landing on the moon, and he's gonna. We know what happens.
And I think that's why I can't see it, because I already know what the story is pretty much.
Sure.
But the way you see it is you see how Neil Armstrong's life is, and I don't know if Neil Armstrong is the most monotone person in this world, but Ryan Gosling plays a very monotone character who's just very detached, like just
Like
one
every
face,
astronaut.
one tone. Like it's like
Yeah.
creepy almost.
Yeah.
But like it's a space movie, right? Supposedly it's a space movie, but everything is from the astronaut's point of view, which makes it much more tense and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like in the way they're trying to do it. It's a really weird feeling.
I agree. Like when the movie's called First Man, it's about Neil Armstrong. Like when he is shooting into space, you don't see these big glamorous shots of a rocket going into space. You see his perspective in the ship, everything rattling. You know,
like I know you can't see it from the podcast, but like there's a window right there. Like what you see is what the camera sees of seeing that window, and you just see like a small image of what's happening outside, and everything's shaking.
Yeah. It gets intense, and the one thing I'll say about it, too, about him being detached, I think it's definitely on purpose. Everything I've heard about Neil Armstrong, even growing up, is that he didn't want to be famous. He didn't do it because he wanted to be a cool guy who goes to the moon, and they go through some pretty traumatic stuff in their life. My favorite scene we kind of talked about, not really a spoiler, but he's like just kind of zoned out in his yard, like thinking about something that happens in his life, and his neighbor comes out, played by Jason Clarke, and comes up to him and tries to like talk to him and be nice, and he just looks at him, he's like, "You think I'm standing out here because I want to be talked to?" And then the neighbor just walks away, and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's fucked up, man." Like,
like this isn't really a spoiler, but because it happened in real life apparently. But he had a daughter who died at a young age, and ever since then he's just really detached. And we just see him go through this process of trying to get to the moon, people dying, failed experiments, and like how he's dealing with all of it, being as attached as he is. He's got 2 new kids, and
yeah, Claire Foy's in the movie, plays his wife. I haven't seen her in a ton of stuff, but I thought she was amazing in this. It's like I said, I mean, really the best thing I can say is I didn't give a shit about the story of Neil Armstrong before this movie, but it made me made me pretty emotional. Especially, I won't spoil it, but what he does on the moon, which I don't know if that really happened or not. But if it did, that's
he poops on the moon.
For Rent It. On the Disney front, Incredibles 2 and Christopher Robin are both coming out on Blu-ray. I loved Incredibles 2.
I loved Incredibles.
I loved Incredibles
me too.
as
Yeah.
well.
And then Christopher Robin, anybody else see that? Just me?
I saw Christopher Robin.
Is that a horror movie?
It was. It was to me.
Like,
to me.
it's like they're stuffed in. They look fucked up, but like in the movie they look fine. They're like stuffed animals basically. But this movie was really funny. Like I love Ian McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and other things. But he's great. It shows like him like go through the army and how fucked up and detached he is, and he's basically like finding his childhood again because he has a daughter who he's really detached from, and like Winnie the Pooh is hilarious. Like I don't know.
It's like I want to be him. Life goals,
right?
But I agree. Like the first 10 minutes of this movie for a Disney movie, like the movie I mean, it's fucking Christopher Robin. Who cares if it's a spoiler? The movie starts with him leaving Christopher Robin leaving Pooh and the
gang,
100 Acre Woods, to grow up. That's the beginning of the movie, and then it shows Christopher Robin growing up, and then it keeps cutting back to Winnie the Pooh, just like kind of staring, waiting for him to come back through.
It's really sad.
And it's like, oh my god. And then he grows up, and his life doesn't suck. He has a wife and a family, but it's like tough. Adulthood sucks. So
he's got this shitty job. He went to the army and it's financial troubles and a whole bunch of other stuff.
His wife's played by Haley Atwell, who I love from Captain America.
Yeah.
So she's in there as well. But it wasn't an amazing movie or anything. It was just I thought it was adorable. I thought it was funny. You know, if you have kids, definitely take a, they'll love this movie. Small kids,
absolutely.
But yeah, it's a cute movie. And then one I did not see, but I want to see, is The Meg, which had a whole bunch of hype around it. It's supposed to be this cheesy B movie.
Was this the new? Wait,
The new Jaws.
yeah, that.
Yeah, but it didn't turn out well from what I hear. As far as the movie wanted to be like a campy, cheesy movie, but then also took itself too seriously. So it kind of ended up as a mess. However, it still made a bunch of money, and they're going to make a second one. I think they greenlit the sequel, and I'm pretty sure there's like 5 books or something. Yeah. So they could keep making them.
Books. Oh wow.
Based off books.
Everyone was calling it the meh.
Instead of the meh, the meh. That's
the meh,
funny. That's funny.
But I really want to see it just to see if Rainn Wilson makes fun of Jason Statham the entire time, because that's what I'm hoping for. Because Jason Statham is in every generic movie. I mean, he's in the same movie every time. So
he's the same character in every
movie.
Yeah.
So I want to see him play the same character in this movie, but Rainn Wilson make fun of him. That's what I hope it is. So that's why I'm probably gonna rent it.
I mean, if the movie is Jason Statham fighting a CGI shark, I'm in. If they try to convolute it with too much other shit, then I'm like, okay, calm down, movie.
Seeing the backstory of a woman and her daughter, no thanks.
Yeah. So that's Rented, and then Stream It. So me and Alex finished House of Haunting of Hill House.
Oh my god.
Have you guys watched it at all?
I walked downstairs to seeing my mom watching it for. I probably stayed there and watched like a good half hour with it. And when it ended, I was like, "This is super emotional, intense." Like, I thought this was a scary movie, and I'm like leaving with like tears in my eyes. And I was like, "I need to go."
Yeah, I also teared up during the end of this show, and this is like one of those shows where it's like I can't feel like I watch any other show for at least 2 months because I've already like rewatched most of it. Like might be my favorite show right now. Wow, it's like I'm too afraid to watch anything else.
And you haven't watched yet, Isaiah. Isaiah does not have Netflix. We gotta get you Netflix, man.
I don't have Netflix or Hulu.
I want Isaiah to take over the stream it portion of this segment. Like, all he has is Amazon, so we gotta get.
So we're gonna talk about Man on the High Tower.
We need we need to pull our money together and just have a Hooligan radio account for all the streaming
I'm gonna
services.
share our own personal account information.
Because I don't use mine, so we get. I already fucking used somebody else's.
Yeah,
One on the team.
But yeah,
I've heard some good things. I see what the next one is. So I've heard that Sabrina has been wild. It's like very satanic from what I've heard.
So yeah, and I'll get to that. I just want to say about Haunting of Hill House real quick. We're not going to get into spoilers or anything, but Zach, you're 100% correct. I don't know what episode you watched, but almost any episode you could have watched a half hour of and feel that way. Extremely emotional and dramatic. Not over dramatic, but it's not even like it's a horror show. It's like it's a drama with horror in it.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
a
I
good way
mean?
to explain it.
Great show.
Okay, if that's what I want to say. I don't want to spoil it, but it's the perfect mix of jump scares and creepy atmosphere. Like the perfect mix. Like I can't go, oh, a little more of this, a little more of that. It has everything. Everything ties together at the end, and you go back and rewatch it, you notice 10 things you didn't even notice before. It's incredible.
And it's actually a show that I hope they don't make a second season. Like, I feel like it's amazing as a 10-hour movie. You know what I mean? I don't want them to ruin it with something else.
There's another horror show called Slasher, which is every season's anthologic. Is that the right word?
Like an anthology?
Yeah, every season's a different season. Basically American Horror Story, but 10 times better, in my opinion. Like,
I've seen that show. I haven't watched it, but like, I know what show you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's my pick for stream it. If it's not Haunting of Hill House, watch Slasher.
And then, Isaiah, to what you said, Sabrina, has anyone checked out Sabrina?
I have not, no.
I have not personally.
So, I did. I watched the first 3 episodes over the weekend, and it's weird, man.
Is it?
It's almost like a guilty pleasure. Like, I know what I'm watching isn't like amazing, but it's like I'm like addicted to it, kind of like it's like eating garbage, you know,
like eating potato chips. You're like, these aren't that good.
Like, just to explain the tone of the show, right? It's like campy as hell because it's based off Sabrina is an Archie comic. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not like the sitcom that came out where it's very sitcom-y. It's very dark and has that Archie comic feel of campiness. And it's kind of set out of time where it's like in modern day, but everyone acts like it's like the 60s or 50s. But just my favorite running joke of the show is her Aunt Zelda in the show. They always talk about they're in this coven, right? They're all witches, and so you have to, basically you worship Satan when you're a witch. And every time like something happens, like good or they're relieved, like Aunt Zelda's always like, "Oh, hail Satan!" And I just think it's funny every single time, just the way she delivers it, like this older woman, just like, "Oh, hail Satan!" Like it's funny every time.
So I just want to know about it. So it's not a remake of the sitcom.
So, I mean, it's the same source material.
Is it the same character, but like remade?
It's Sabrina, yeah. So it's
Okay.
the same characters from that show. So it's Sabrina, her 2 aunts, her parents are dead.
Yeah.
Harvey is her boyfriend. So it's like the same story, but from what I know, from what I would assume, this is much more directly based off the source material comics than the sitcom was.
So it was based off comics. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, it's made by the people who made Riverdale, which is also an Archie Comics thing, and they make a reference to it in one of the first episodes, and it was just the cheesiest shit ever. Like, Sabrina's hanging out with these other witches, right? And there's like the jock boys from the school, and they're like, "Oh, who are these girls? We don't recognize them." And she's like, "Oh, they go to another school." And one of the boys is like, "Oh, what, did they go to Riverdale?" Like, you might as well just been like, "Wink, wink. Do you guys know about the TV show Riverdale?" Like, I was like, "Oh my god!" But besides that, but the show is
so funny.
the show is very, very dark humor. It gets really weird, and it's sometimes like kind of really cheesy. But it's like I said, it's like a guilty pleasure. It's like 13 Reasons Why. It's like you just keep watching it.
Is it on Netflix?
It's a Netflix original. Yeah.
Okay.
Hail Satan.
But each episode is an hour, and it's not like Haunting of Hill House where you can you just go through it. It feels like an hour, so because
Really?
sometimes it does drag a little bit. That'd be my only. That's why I've only watched 3 episodes, because I watch one and I'm like, okay.
I spent an hour doing something.
Okay, so the time is here. This may end in a fight. It may end in all of us having the same exact opinions. Who knows what's going to happen? We're going to crown the greatest horror movie of all time. We've already announced the 16 seeds and their bracket, but if you don't know what they are, you can pull up the picture, which we posted on Twitter multiple times, or you can just listen and try to follow along. It's going to be normal single elimination 16 seeded bracket. I'm going to announce the round. We're each going to go around and give our vote on what should advance. There's 4 of us here. So if it comes down to a 2v2 vote, we're going to spend just a minute or two trying to convince
Kicking
each other.
other's ass.
Trying to convince each other, but especially for these first few rounds, we can't spend a lot of time because we have a lot to get through. So if it comes down to a 2v2 vote for the first few rounds, the higher seed is going to advance in the event of a tie. Obviously, if it's the finals, we're going to have to duke it out. But for the first few rounds,
Kill people.
higher seed advances if we can't decide.
All right,
So-
I just need to let everybody know because I feel like gloating. I watched 5 horror movies in the last 2 weeks.
No,
So
really
I'm a little
though.
warmed up.
Really though, mad respect to Isaiah. If Isaiah told me, "Hey Josh, play these 10 video games in the next 2 weeks," I don't know if I would have done it. So he did it. So respect gained for you. So let's get right into the first matchup here. The number 1 seed, John Carpenter's 1982 The Thing, versus the number 16 seed, the ultimate underdog, Thanksgiving. Alex, go ahead.
Okay, let me just start off by saying that The Thing 1982 is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. This is a movie I can watch over and over again and notice things, and I used to read theories about this movie. I was working at a restaurant, and on my break, even during work, I'd read just theories about it. It's endless thoughts because it's so open-ended, and the special effects are all practical, and they look great. Thanksgiving, I only remember one scene, so I'm sorry. But what is the line again?
Nice tits, bitch.
Nice tits, bitch. But it's about a killer turkey. So this one, I have to go with The Thing 1982 because if you haven't seen it, you are really missing out.
Okay, so that's 1 for The Thing. So I thought we were going to have the ultimate swerve there where he praises The Thing for 10 minutes and then says he votes for Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, like I said in the previous episode, I just wanted it to make the list because I want more people to watch it. There's plenty of horror movies that are probably better than this that could have made it, but I wanted to put this in for people to watch it. You said the one line that stuck out to you and you remember. To me, it's when the turkey kills the girl's dad, and then puts the dad's face on his face, and they all believe that he's the dad, even though it's clearly a turkey wearing a man's face. And then eventually the turkey just goes, "You kids are fucking idiots," and starts killing him. With that being said, my vote is for The Thing. Zach?
Yeah, I love Thanksgiving, to be honest with you. It's just so humorous and so good. But The Thing is such a classic and such a good overall movie. I'm also giving it to The Thing.
All right, Isaiah, do you have anything to say? Your vote does not matter here, but...
Yeah, so I watched The Thing literally today, and I would have to agree with the guys that it's the one that should go forward. But Thanksgiving was the first movie that was in that genre, with Rubber and all those ridiculous horror movies that are not even aiming to be good. They're just make a bad movie, it'll be hilarious. So I'm glad that it made the list and that other people will check it out and they can tell us how bad they actually think it is.
All right, so The Thing advances. Up next, we have the number 2 seed, The Exorcist, facing the number 15 seed, Friday the 13th. For the sake of this tournament, we did part 6, Jason Lives, but really just doing an overall franchise, Friday the 13th. Alex, what do you think?
I just saw The Exorcist for the first time, and people are saying it's the scariest movie of all time, but that movie drags, man. It did not do it for me. There's a couple creepy scenes and everything, and it's very vulgar, but in terms of horror movie, it just didn't do it for me. I'm not the biggest fan of Exorcist films, but I love the Conjuring movies, and some people, you might call that an Exorcist movie, but I don't feel like they're Exorcist movies. It feels more like a ghost movie, so it didn't do it for me. Friday the 13th, it basically took the idea of what Halloween is, but made it its own and created its own franchise. It's just as popular as Halloween, so I have a great respect for it. And if you haven't seen the first one, there's a great twist because of how big that franchise is. So for me, it's got to go with Friday the 13th, even though I don't think I've seen Jason Lives.
So that's 1 for Friday the 13th franchise. For me, Friday the 13th, I haven't seen a ton of them. I saw the first one, so I haven't seen a ton where it's Jason, so I can't speak a ton to that. as far as Jason as a character, he's always been towards the bottom for me. Like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, even like Pinhead, I would put above Jason, just for me personally. Mostly because of my lack of experience with Jason. Even in Freddy vs. Jason, I find myself rooting for Freddy the whole time. The Exorcist, it took me forever to watch that movie in full. And this is more of a personal bias, which is this whole tournament is a personal bias. But when I was about 10 years old, my older brother got it on DVD and was watching with his girlfriend and some of his friends. And I asked, can I watch it? And he's like, yeah, but if you start to get scared, you have to go upstairs. I'm not dealing with mom yelling at me because you're having nightmares. And I made it to the scene where, and Alex, you might know the scene, I don't know if you guys will remember, but the scene where they walk into the girls' room and she's like flailing around on the bed. It's like right after she gets possessed, basically. Mm-hmm. That's not even like a scary part compared to what happens, but I was out. I'm like, all right, no, done. And so didn't watch the movie for like 10 years. Finally watched it. And I agree with you to where it's like, yeah, you have to give it that respect because it's a classic movie. Mm-hmm. It's not, to me, not the scariest movie of all time, but I do think there is stuff in that movie that genuinely terrifies me. When her head turns around, when she sticks the cross in her vagina, I mean, there's disturbing stuff in that movie. Yeah. So I'm going to have to vote for The Exorcist myself.
Yeah. Starting with The Exorcist, Exorcist is probably one of my favorite scary movies. I love some of the stuff they do, such as like during the movie they'll just play like sounds of bees to like bring up like primal like fear sort of. I remember reading an article, they did a bunch of different things to bring up like primal fear, what they called it, or like deep down like emotions where like through evolution these fears still exist, like bees like humming, like hiving, or like lions like a roar or something like that to like sense danger, and that's all trickled through the movie. Jason as a whole, in the whole series, I guess he's just not one of my top tier slasher guys, I guess. Even though he's like considered a classic, so I have to give it to The Exorcist.
And Isaiah?
I'm gonna have to go with The Exorcist also. Josh brought up a good point that in Freddy vs. Jason, or whatever the name of the movie was, I was like, man, Jason kind of lame. But like, yeah, so I'm just going to have to go with the Exorcist movie. I'm all about the demon possession, all that kind of movies. I'm the opposite of Alex on that standpoint. So,
all right, so we have our first disagreement, and I can feel the anger coming off Alex. So The Exorcist moves on, and we're going to move on. So we have the number 3 seed, one of the most classic horror movies of all time, Night of the Living Dead, going up against an underdog technically by seed, but one of the favorites of this tournament, Grave Encounters. So, Alex, what do you think?
I really like both of these movies. I didn't see Night of the Living Dead until way later, but we've all seen Grave Encounters a while ago. And Grave Encounters is one of the like Grave Encounters, like and Night of the Living Dead have like polar opposite beginnings. Grave Encounters, like it's a slow build up and it feels really real. Like you're really seeing the behind the scenes of this show. It feels 100% real. Night of the Living Dead, you see a zombie right away and it just throws it right in your face, and you feel like it'd be the exact opposite with the age difference. But as in terms of what I think is better, it's so tough because it's like it's comparing like chicken wings to like apples. You know what I mean? It's like
not apples to oranges. Chicken wings to apples.
No, because those are both fruit. These things are like completely different. It's like, how do I compare these things? Mm-hmm. They're both good in their own sense. But I like Dawn of the Dead more. But we are talking about franchises, but the whole like of the Dead, George Romero, like each movie is different, so I got to go with Grave Encounters because I love both 1 and 2, and there's some sequels like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and other of the Dead I don't really care for. So for me, it's Grave Encounters.
How you felt about The Exorcist, I feel about Night of the Living Dead. I respect that it's a classic horror movie, but watching it recently, beyond respecting its cinematic value and what it did for film, it didn't really draw me in. I would agree that the Dawn of the Dead, is that the one at the mall?
So much better.
Yeah, I really love that one. And we say for franchises, but I feel like for this one, it's really not a franchise. I mean, they're made so far apart by different people, besides Of the Dead being in the title.
They're supposed all in the same universe, but like none of them have anything to do with each other.
So Grave Encounters, these guys will say it for me, so I'm not going to say much, but Grave Encounters, I think, is a movie that not a lot of people have seen. Is it the best movie ever? No, but it may be the best horror movie ever.
Yes.
We'll see. So I'm going with Grave Encounters as well. Zach?
I'm not going to put too much thought into this. It's Grave
Yeah,
Encounters.
you may have to fight for it much later. So
Yeah,
maybe
so
you
I'm
should
gonna
save
say-
it
I'm
now.
gonna
Save your
my
thoughts.
And Isaiah, you going Grave Encounters as well?
Yeah, I haven't seen Night of the Living Dead, but I've seen Grave Encounters enough times to know that I don't need to see Night of the Living Dead to pick Grave Encounters.
So we have our first big upset with Grave Encounters moving on.
Yeah, we wrecked all of those brackets. Just kidding. Anybody who listens to this knows that we all love Grave Encounters.
Yeah, what a surprise. All right, and now we move on to the number 4 seed, the original Halloween, going up against the number 13 seed, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, we've all kind of debated what Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie we're using, and I think that's because none of us have really seen any of them, except for Alex.
Yep.
So, Alex, what do you say? This might be a tough one for you, I don't know, but what do you think?
This is very tough because they're both great. They're both amazing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre feels like a documentary. It's filmed in the camera style of a documentary, and you feel like you're with these people in this unknown Texas town, and it feels legitimately terrifying. These local characters are scary, but Halloween is like much more relatable because it comes to you. This is two polar opposites. Going to where the killer is, the killer comes to you. And this is really tough because I really love both of these.
Do you want us to come back to you?
I'm gonna go with Halloween.
Halloween, okay.
Yeah.
Last second decision. For me, it's not that tough at all. Like I said, I've seen the 2003 version of Texas Chainsaw. I saw the terrible sequels. And trust me and Alex know, as many bad sequels of Halloween as there are, the first one, in my mind, may be the best horror movie ever. I don't know. We'll see. So I definitely got to go with Halloween for myself. That's 2-0, Zach?
I'm also going to be going with Halloween. We talked about Halloween already on some of the other stuff, so I won't talk too much about that. The Chainsaw series, I enjoy it, but
It's like watching hot trash. Like,
yeah, at one point in time, it's just you just have to sit there and you're just like, why?
Okay, yeah.
Like we get that. We get the idea of what's going on.
And Isaiah, do you like hot trash?
I do not like hot trash. No, I'm going to have to go with Halloween also.
Okay. All right, so I'm in pretty clear cut there. Halloween sweeps it. Moving on, up next we have, for me, and we'll get to my opinion eventually, but this is the first matchup that I'm having trouble with.
Same.
So the number 5 seed, Poltergeist, going up against the number 12 seed, Nightmare on Elm Street. We chose, I mean, really it was me. We chose Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, but really Nightmare on Elm Street as a whole. Alex, what do you think?
this stuff, because Poltergeist is like one of the movies that legitimately terrified me. Like, I was scared, legit. Like, I was looking away from the screen, and not very many movies do that to me. Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic, but in terms of being scary, not really. It's more of like a comedy scary thing. Like, I remember like laughing my ass off on how cheesy the first one was, and like some of the stuff is gore, like with the vein puppet stuff like that, and the other ones,
Which is in 3.
yeah. Like, as a franchise, like Nightmare on Elm Street is like one of the best franchises because it has so many movies. Had a cool crossover with Jason, and like he's still a regular. Like, he was just on the Goldbergs. Like, he's still a popular thing. But in terms of being a good movie, like the first one was okay, but Poltergeist just takes the cake because that movie just scared the living shit out of me.
So you're going Poltergeist.
I'm going with
All right, one
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. So this is tough, man, for me. It all comes down to where I was in my life when I watched these as far as my personal experience. Poltergeist, I was really young. It was one of the first horror movies I saw. My grandmother, you guys know Candy, showed it to me. And it did really scare me. I love the ending. Is it Craig? I can never remember who plays the dad.
Craig T. Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson. Because, she goes through the TV, basically. That's the hauntings through the static and the TV at the home. At the end of the movie, they go to the hotel, and you see him push out the TV. Out of the hotel
that was
room.
great.
Great ending. But every time I go back to it, since being young, it's never as good as that first viewing. Not that it's bad or anything, but it's just like, I watch it now, and I'm like, yeah, that's really, really solid. Nightmare on Elm Street, I didn't watch when I was young at all, just because I wasn't that into the slashers outside of the original Halloween. I watched it when I got older, not from being terrified standpoint, from just appreciating horror as a genre. And I've seen basically all of them. They're all pretty good for different reasons. My favorite kill, which is in number 3, part of the reason I chose this movie, which I think totally sums up Freddy Krueger, is there's a girl in the movie who wants to be an actress, and when she gets killed, she's in a waiting room, and Freddy's head and arms come out of a TV, and he grabs her and picks her up, and he says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch," and he slams her into the TV, and that's how she dies. And I think that's what describes what makes Freddy so great. This is extremely, extremely tough. God, this sucks, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street just by a hair. So that's 1-1. So Zach, what do you think?
So how you described The Exorcist for you, like the first movie that really scared you as a child, that was Poltergeist for me. That movie scared the living crap out of me, but I loved it. I also really, really enjoy the Nightmare on Elm series as a whole. I don't know if I can pick out a specific movie out of the series that I really like, but I think it's a good series as a whole, which is why I have to give it to Poltergeist.
All right, so 2-1 Poltergeist. Isaiah, you could tie it up, or you could send Poltergeist through. What do you think?
So here we go. I haven't seen either of these movies.
All right, which is why we put Isaiah last, because I think it's going to be super interesting that he's going to be deciding a lot of these votes.
So basically...
You decide off what we said, right? Kind of like...
yeah. No, he has to ignore everything we said.
So, like movie fights, basically.
Yeah.
Generally how it goes down, in my head, is... Rick and Morty did a spoof on Freddy, and he says kind of the same lines like what you had said, and I was like, oh damn, I should watch those movies, it's really good, but I'm gonna go with Poltergeist.
All right, Poltergeist moves on, and I for me, Nightmare on Elm Street, it wasn't that big of a gap, so I'm totally cool with that. Moving on here, we have the number 6 seed. This one for me was actually a pretty surprisingly high seed. I loved the movie, but didn't think it'd be this high. 2017's It, going up against the number 11 seed Insidious. So, Alex, you go ahead with your opinion.
This is really tough because Insidious is, I think, my second favorite ghost movie. It's James Wan, Patrick Wilson. Like the things they did in this movie, are things like I've never seen before in terms of ghost movies. Like the visuals they created, and I can't really. It's hard to describe how much I like this movie. It's just one of those movies where I can just watch it over and over again. But the 2017 version, I liked. It wasn't as faithful to the book as the original TV series, believe it or not. Is it the scariest movie I've ever seen? No, but it was enjoyable. I love Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. But when I have to put the two against each other, I have to go with Insidious.
All right, so that's 1 for Insidious. What I'll say about Insidious is that I loved the first one, and I liked the second one even more than the first one.
Oh yeah, Insidious 2 is the greatest horror movie sequel in my opinion.
And we'll get to horror movie sequels in a little bit, so it's interesting that you say that. But I really liked it. For me, when I look at the franchise as a whole, Insidious 3 and Insidious 4, I think, kind of damaged it for me because you can never go back, in my opinion, and I don't think James Wan even wants to at this point, but you can't even really go back and make an Insidious 5 and all of a sudden bring it back for me. But I don't want to punish the first Insidious for that. However, all I'll say about it is that it's my pick for this tournament. Woo! So my vote goes to it. I know I'm going to have to fight for it heavily later, so I'm not going to say anything at all. But Zach, go ahead.
I'm going to be giving this to Insidious. Especially since we're doing this as a whole series, to me, the Insidious, including the sequels for it, outweigh it, even the remake of it for me, at the end of the day, especially for Halloween or best horror movie.
So that's 2-1, Isaiah.
Woo!
Isaiah, come on.
We talked about it. I don't know, man. I've seen Insidious and I saw it all again today, and I had to go with it, dude. Insidious, I was like, I'm so into this. And then they showed the demon, and I was like, what the fuck? Darth Maul's in this bitch? And then I peaced out. I'm done with that.
Part of me is like, yeah, it looks like Darth Maul. Part of me is like, you can't fault it for that. I don't know, because some people have seen Star Wars, some people haven't. But
I'll admit, Insidious, that demon I think is incredibly creepy and scary.
Yeah.
So technically, this is our first 2-2 right here. So if me or Isaiah don't change our vote, it wins because it's the higher seed. So you two have to try to convince Isaiah to vote Insidious because I'm not. But what I will say real quick for it, if it happens to go out in this round, Pennywise is the only character in a horror movie that has genuinely scared me as an adult, and I'm not afraid of clowns. When he comes out of the fridge and he's all tangled up, and then he unwinds, the entire scene when they go into his house in the middle of the movie is incredibly terrifying. The way that, Bill tries to say, oh, we just don't be scared, and he says, oh, I was scary enough for Georgie, his younger brother that he just killed. That is insane to me. On top of that, this movie is essentially Stand By Me, but with a scary clown. So that's all I'll say for it right now. Please don't change your mind, Isaiah. Okay, you can try.
All right.
Okay. Insidious did like a lot of things I've never seen before. It's like it's hard to describe because I want people to experience these things, but also I have to give it my 2 cents. Like he goes into this other world, this dream world. Like with it, you kind of know what you're getting, but with Insidious, it's kind of all open-ended. He goes into like the further, which is like basically the ghost in between world, between heaven and hell, whatever. And you see all these things and these dead people. It's really hard. It sounds so dumb when you describe it. like what are you trying to describe here, man? Like, what are you trying to prove? It's like just watching it. It sucks you into this world, and you feel so a part of it. But like, I like it too. Like, it's hard. You know, you have to decide. I mean, no, we've all decided that.
Yeah. What it really boils down to for me is, like Josh said, I've never been scared of clowns. But if somebody in a Pennywise mask knocked on our door right now, I'd be fucking shitting bricks right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that the at least the 2017 version that I watched recently, whew, it was good. I watched it at home, which is normally a problem for me, but it kept my attention. And I like the aspect where like he really could only do anything against people when they were like alone and scared. And that was like the part that I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. It's like we have a way to defeat this thing, and it's kind of reliant on the group being a group still and nobody being like, fuck off. Yeah. So I'm staying it.
If no one's gonna budge, then for the sake of the group, I'll give it. I like it a lot. I do.
All right.
Like you convinced me. I can convince. Like, I dislike Insidious. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, hey, you should like this.
All right. So that was tough, but it made it through at least for this round. So we have a couple more guys. Guess what? We're still in the first round. So coming up next, this one is going to be a little bit tough for me. The number 7 seed, Conjuring 2, going up against Cabin in the Woods, the number 10 seed. Alex, go ahead.
This is kind of, we haven't gotten to it yet, but it's exactly like Hereditary and Scream, like an absolute classic versus an anti-horror movie. Like Cabin in the Woods is just basically, it's sort of making fun, but it's kind of like giving like a making fun reason of why horror movies exist. Like we need this. Spoiler alert, but you need to sacrifice 5 people each year that fit into this generic horror movie category to these gods so the world doesn't end. And the gods are supposed to be us, I guess. But The Conjuring 2 is like every horror movie seems to have one theme where like everything's all dark, everything's all dark and scary. But the difference between The Conjuring 2 and The Conjuring 1 is that Conjuring 2 has this great scene where Patrick Wilson's playing the guitar and they all like come together and there's this happy moments, and like The Conjuring 2 can scare me in broad daylight. Like the Nun movie sucked. Spoiler alert. But like the Nun is in their house and it's daylight outside and you see the Nun at the end of the hallway. Like I was legitimately terrified. So for this, I have to give it to The Conjuring 2. It's probably my Insidious 2 is not my favorite horror movie sequel. The Conjuring 2 is. I knew I was forgetting it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one for Conjuring 2. So let me start off by saying I will be happy with either of these movies going through. I love them both. I just realized how much I love Cabin in the Woods again when we watched it last weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
Because before that I was thinking, Conjuring 2 definitely. But after rewatching Cabin in the Woods, it's so good.
Oh, yeah.
And however, when it comes down to it, if I had to choose between these two, I think not Hereditary. I think Cabin in the Woods is a great movie, but I think The Conjuring 2 is a great horror movie, and that's why I have to vote for Conjuring 2. Cool. Zach?
I'm also giving it to The Conjuring 2 for that exact reason. I think Cabin in the Woods is a fantastic anti-horror movie, like, bringing the humor, make fun of itself. I honestly think if it was paired up against almost any other movie in here, I would at least give it a thought, but The Conjuring 2 is definitely, by far, better than that.
I was full-fledged Conjuring 2, and then Alex brought this point that we are supposed to be the people that they're sacrificing these people in this horror movie too, and now I'm attached to that. So I'm gonna, even though it doesn't matter, vote for Cabin in the Woods.
Try to convince all of us, right?
All right, so but Cabin in the Woods is a great movie. Watch it if you have not. Conjuring 2 advances. Last matchup of the first round.
Oh, jeez.
This one breaks my heart, and I don't know how I'm gonna vote. It's the number 8 seed and the number 9 seed. Number 8, Hereditary. Number 9 is Scream. Alex, I'm sorry, but you have to go first.
Scream is the first horror movie I ever saw. like the very first horror movie. Like my mom brought it on, like, here, I got you this. And it's kind of funny that the first horror movie I ever saw is like the anti-horror movie, which is kind of like sort of making fun of all the tropes and everything.
Yeah.
So like I have that personal attachment to it. Like this is the movie that basically got me to where I am now, which isn't far.
Everything you are in life is
because I saw Scream. And Hereditary, which was like a great like reimagining of horror, because there's so many like pop out jump scare horror, but this movie was everything I loved about The Shining, but new with a different idea. Why isn't The Shining on this list? But we'll get.
It almost made. None of us have seen it.
Damn it! You guys all suck. But The Shining's part of Hereditary now. But it comes to choosing which one I think is better. Like I like Scream. Like in every sequel, like keep adding on to it. Like I remember when they made Scream 4. I'm like, why did they make Scream 4? The whole point of Scream 3 was that it was a trilogy. But after watching Scream 4, I'm like, oh my god, that was great. I don't even care anymore. And Hereditary is just a movie by itself, but that's not its fault. It just came out, but it's really good. And I'm talking here just to delay to make my choice here. But in terms of like being scary, oh god, this sucks. Oh man. I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have to go with Scream.
Okay.
Because the first time I loved it, Hereditary took me a couple times to like
Yeah.
it, so.
So what I would say is Hereditary is my favorite movie of this year, but I struggled to put it on this list because it is so new. Like, it is so new. And I think something has to sit for a little bit to be considered the greatest of all time. However, right after I saw this movie, I tweeted, this may be the greatest horror movie I've ever seen.
So based off that tweet, I have to...
But what I'll say is I love the Scream franchise. Alex nailed it perfectly. Scream 2 is okay. But Scream 1, Scream 3, and Scream 4 are all amazing horror movies. And as much as I love Hereditary, I would have to vote Scream as well. Zach?
I'm going to have to give it to Scream as well.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Didn't you say Hereditary is your favorite movie of all time?
No, Grave Encounters is my favorite scary movie of all time. I don't care. They can know that now. But I agree with you, Josh. It's very new. I definitely think some of these movies have to sit there for a little bit just so you can judge it against time. I think Hereditary had a great start. Everyone, I shouldn't say everyone because, of course, Isaiah didn't like it. But a lot of people liked it up front. It took the horror genre away from jump scares, which I'm very happy about. But Scream as an overall series is just superior.
Yeah, and we're not really... I know that we aren't addressing it right now, and I'm going Scream also. But it's just... When I think horror movie, one of the first ones that comes to mind is Scream. Mm-hmm. And it's probably not because of Scream. It's probably because of Scary Movie. And Scary Movie 2, where they basically just make fun of a movie that's making fun of movies.
Which also Wes Craven directed it, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street, which is really funny actually. Like one of the main horror directors directed a movie making fun of horror, which I find funny and cool.
But yeah, I enjoyed. I haven't seen Scream in a long time. It was probably one of the first scary movies I've ever seen, and then I rewatched it today, and was like, oh, fuck yeah, this one's dope.
Just right at the beginning with Drew Barrymore, reminiscent of Psycho, killing off your main character,
Your supposed main character.
Yeah, I mean, Psycho was actually like 45 minutes into the film. People think it's the beginning, but this movie is the beginning.
Yeah.
And, just as soon as he gets on the phone, what's your favorite scary movie? It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And it's classic. It's ingrained. It's constantly spoofed.
All right, well, that was a lot of great discussion. That was very difficult. And guess what? That was only the first round, and it gets harder from here. All right, guys, so we are on to round 2. It's always only going to get a little bit more difficult from here. We got the number 1 seed, The Thing, going up against the number 9 seed, Scream. Alex, what do you think?
Oh, my God, this is tough. I love both of these films dearly. I know we already pretty much explained every film in detail, except Zach. He's saving his words for Grave Encounters.
Damn right.
But I've watched The Thing at least 10 times. I've seen Scream maybe 2 or 3 times. It's I like Scream, but you kind of get the idea after watching it. The Thing, it just sucks me in. The atmosphere, you feel like you're out there in the cold because everything about you're stuck in this one atmosphere, and you feel the tension, who could be who's the thing, who's not a thing, is there more than one thing, how does this thing operate? And with what they did back in 1982 with the special effects is incredible. So yeah, I'm gonna go with The Thing again.
So 1 for The Thing. when I first saw this matchup on paper, and I just assumed, okay, I'm probably going to vote for The Thing, I'm probably going to vote for Scream in the first round. So just looking at, okay, when these two come in together in the second round, at first I'm thinking, oh, it's Scream. I mean, I like The Thing, but I don't love it. I just like it. But after rewatching it, what movie do I have more fun watching? It's Scream, hands down. But I think it would be very difficult to argue that any Scream movie is a better movie than The Thing. So most of this is going to be my personal taste, but this is one of the few matchups where I'm going to have to kind of go against my personal taste because I wouldn't be able to admit to myself that Scream is a better movie than The Thing. So I'm going to vote The Thing. So that's 2-0.
Damn.
This one, I feel like people were like, wow, this is going to be a really hard one, but I'm also going with The Thing. And I
Wow.
that's surprising a lot of people.
I don't know, man. I would say I'm 100% Scream. Like,
But like Josh said, the Thing movie as a whole is better than any other Scream movie on its own. And I still can't put the Scream series as a whole better than The Thing just because The Thing was great.
yeah,
And you just watched both
I
very
watched
recently.
both of them literally today.
So you have a very fresh mind.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like, when it boils down to it at the end of Scream, and you're like, oh, it's the fucking both of them, what the fuck? Like, that moment for me, I was just like, damn, I would have never guessed that shit.
Yeah.
It would have been two guys,
Yeah.
and the assholes, fuck.
Yeah.
But, like, The Thing, I was like, the whole time I was like, I'd probably just kill myself in a fashion that killed everyone here to save the world. Like, so I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I had to pick Scream, but this ain't up to me.
What I would say about that, too, is probably because you're so fresh on Scream, because I had that same reaction. That's the one thing that's unfortunate about the Scream franchise, is the more movies you watch, it becomes harder and harder as the movies go on to get that reaction from you at the end. Like, Scream 2, I knew who it was almost immediately. Scream 3, I knew who it was. Scream 4 surprised me. Yeah. But I never got that reaction like I did with Scream 1.
And that was the thing, is I watched all the trailers that were included with Blu-rays, and there was a trailer for Scream 4, and I was like, damn, now I want to see Scream 4, and I haven't seen Scream 4, so I don't know.
I'll let you borrow it if you want. All right.
Yeah, so there you go. That one goes to The Thing.
All right, so The Thing makes it through.
It's okay.
And then
Thing's definitely not better than Grave Encounters.
We're gonna find out.
and then we have the number 2 seed, The Exorcist, going up against the number 7 seed, Conjuring 2. That's an interesting one. Alex, what do you think?
Conjuring 2.
Yeah, I mean, you've already kind of said your piece there.
I want to say another thing about The Exorcist. Like, there's so much build up on this priest, like so much backstory for him, just for that one. Because with his mother in the hospital, just for one line where she said, "Your mother sucks cocks in hell," just for that one line, like so much, like an extra like 45 minutes just showing this priest. Like, this movie is like a lot of backstory just for that quick, 20-minute segment. Like, it's really, sure, there's some stuff where, she's stabbing herself with the cross and other things, but I don't know, I didn't find it that scary. Like, if I saw this when I was 10, maybe. And this one's very fresh for me, and it just didn't do it for me. I'm sorry, but The Conjuring 2 did everything for me.
So what I would say is, and I told Alex about this, after I put Conjuring 2 on the list, I was like, oh no, did I make a mistake? Should I put The Conjuring on the list? And the reason I say that is because I think The Conjuring does The Exorcist better than The Exorcist does.
I agree with that.
So with that being said, The Conjuring 2 is something completely different from the original Conjuring, yes, but looking at it as a whole franchise, I like The Conjuring more than I like The Exorcist. And I like The Conjuring 2 more than I like The Conjuring, so I would have to go with Conjuring 2 as well.
And apparently The Exorcist 2 is like the worst movie ever made, so just for a franchise.
Yeah, I wasn't even considering the Exorcist sequels because I've heard they're so bad. I wasn't even considering it as a franchise. But Zach, go ahead.
But The Exorcist did come out with a pretty good TV series for a while that got canned, but I'm also giving this to The Conjuring.
My vote doesn't matter, but it would have been with The Conjuring exactly because of what Josh said. The Conjuring 1 definitely did The Exorcist, and I thought it was in better.
I 100% agree with that, too.
So there you go. Conjuring 2, well, the Conjuring universe.
Yeah, but for the sake of the tournament, Conjuring 2.
Not including
Yeah,
the
not
Nun.
the Annabelle movies.
Not the Nun.
But will that come up later against it? We'll see. Okay. Guys, let's see here. We have the number 4 seed, Halloween, going up against the number 5 seed, Poltergeist.
Oh, wow.
That's tough. Go ahead, Alex.
This is tough. I mean, I saw Poltergeist years ago, so my mind isn't really fresh on it. I just remember it terrifying me. I've seen Halloween a bunch of times, and like it's a classic. I mean, it's tough. We just talked about it for like a half hour, so I'm a little bit drained on it when it comes to words, so I don't want to keep repeating myself. But if I just had to choose, I'm going to go with Halloween just because of how powerful it is.
I talked about when I was a kid, Poltergeist being one of the first movies I saw and it terrifying me. When I saw Halloween as a kid, it was one of the first horror movies I saw, one of the first real movies I can remember watching. It didn't scare me. I wasn't terrified. I couldn't, didn't have to stop watching it, didn't have nightmares. But it was the first time I can remember watching a movie as a small child and going, that was a fucking great movie. So as much as I love the Poltergeist, as much as it scared me, I'm going to have to vote for Halloween as well.
I'm sorry to make your vote not count again, Isaiah, but I'm also going for Halloween.
I'm trying to find out if Zach's dying and he's trying to make this go fast. No, I would have voted for Halloween also, so it didn't matter.
It's a combination of death and Halloween's just the better movie.
Like, yeah, if it was like scariest movie ever, like maybe it would have gone past, but it's best horror movie ever. Like as a whole, horror movie, so Halloween.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Oh, man.
Last one of the second round. We have Zach's pick for the tournament, Grave Encounters, against my pick for the tournament, It. So,
Oh, wow.
Alex, I feel like I have an uphill battle, but Alex, go ahead.
Grave Encounters and It. Okay. Let me just say that I love both of these movies dearly, and if I offend Zach or Josh, I'm sorry. But
You will. Go ahead.
both did great things. Like, both did original things. Both made me feel terrified, and like Grave Encounters made me feel enclosed, and I like feeling that enclosed feeling. How like you can't get out. You really feel stuck. Like it didn't really do that for me. Like it did good things. It did really, but some parts of it like didn't really scare me. Like there's just some parts just didn't do it for me. Some parts were goofy. He's a clown, so that's given. But I liked it a lot. But Grave Encounters, for me, it's a better horror movie. It's a better scary movie. Like it has that Stand By Me vibe, which is like great movie stuff, but great horror stuff. Like I feel like Grave Encounters, like I felt like it was horror. Like I was scared. I was tense. Like it was like, this. But in terms of general horror, this is really tough. I love both. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying it, but I have to go with Grave Encounters.
Okay, so.
Choose your words carefully.
I kind of said what I really loved about it when I was trying to defend it in the last round, and all of that's true. So let's talk about Grave Encounters. So I love Grave Encounters also. I think it's the best, not just horror, but I think it's the best POV movie that I've seen. Maybe Chronicles up there. But Grave Encounters does that technique perfectly. As me, and you guys can relate to this as well, I loved making movies. I loved filming things when I was growing up. Grave Encounters is the type of movie that makes me feel like I could make a movie right now if I wanted. Not because it's bad or cheap, but because of the low budget, because of the POV and how it still works. I don't watch that and go like, well, this is total shit. I watch it and go, wow, this is a good movie made with this low budget and those types of things. What I'll say about it, not defending it, but the one thing with it that is unfortunately a weakness is that it's not really complete. It's It Chapter 1, essentially. It says it at the end of the movie. It Chapter 2 hasn't come out yet. It Chapter 2 could completely suck. I mean, the adult version of the 1990 miniseries wasn't great. So it could be terrible. Grave Encounters 2, I loved more than Grave Encounters 1. It continued that vibe of the kids were in film school, which I would have loved to go to film school. All those types of things. I thought it made the first one better. But at the end of the day, and this is just a personal bias, as much as I really love Grave Encounters, nowhere in the two movies did it scare me. Did it give me goosebumps at some parts, or make me go, oh, that's really cool? Like in the first movie when they realize it's night forever and it's never going to turn day, like, ooh, that's pretty chilling. Or in the second movie, at the end when he's like, nothing's there, don't go there, and then it flashes the coordinates. Stuff like that kind of gave me goosebumps. Like, ooh, that's pretty cool. But I was never scared. And again, this is just a personal thing. Like, I was terrified during it almost the whole time. So as far as a horror movie goes, I got to go with it just by a hair, but I understand what's happening here. So, Zach, go ahead.
You have to ask. It's Grave Encounters all day.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude. Grave Encounters is so good, right? Like, it's just so good. And exactly what Josh said is the reason why I have to pick it. It's that it's not a huge high budget film like the one. I haven't seen the original It, so I don't know how much money they spent to make it. But you could tell how much money was put into the 2017 remake, and you're like, okay, cool. And what you said is they did a lot with what little they had for Grave Encounters. So I have to pick Grave Encounters because there were more scenes that I was afraid of. Bathtub scene, tongue on the floor scene, stuff like that is just like, whew. But
that bathtub scene.
And then there's one thorn in my side scene from it, and it's like when they're in the bathroom and it's all bloody, and the dad comes in and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, why? Why does he not know? But everybody, like all the other kids come in and they can see it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get that, but like you said, it's only chapter 1, and judging it only knowing what chapter 1 has told me, I'm Grave Encounters.
Yeah.
So down goes
It, but I understand it. I understand. I felt like I was going to say something, but I can't even fucking remember anymore. Yeah.
Rip.
Grave Encounter, move on. What the fuck was I going to say? Guess it doesn't matter. Okay. So
that's another round down, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We are on to the semifinals. So here we go, guys. Really tough ones here. The Thing, the number 1 seed, going up against the number 4 seed, Halloween. Alex,
fuck.
Go ahead.
These are both John Carpenter's too. Wow, that's insane.
Yep. Just 4 years apart, too.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's true.
1982.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude was rolling out those hits, man.
Yeah, okay. There's only so many details I can spit out now because we've literally said everything.
Yeah.
But if it comes to arguing at the end, I'm going to argue for The Thing.
I totally understand that, and I get it, and I disagree. I vote for Halloween. Zach?
I disagree with you, but I agree with Alex and give it to The Thing.
Wow, boils down to your boy, and I gotta pick Halloween. So what
all
are
right,
we gonna talk about?
This is what I've been waiting for.
2v. All right, so 2v2.
Boxing gloves on.
So if we can't convince one of them, The Thing advances because it's the number 1 seed. I'm not going to convince Alex. So Zach, why did you pick The Thing?
I chose The Thing because I just thought. I guess when I'm more getting to more of these end ones, I'm looking at the movie as a whole and not like. I know it's the series, but. It's hard to do it with The Thing because it's just a single movie. There's not like that series with it. So when I'm thinking of the Scream movies, I'm thinking of like the first one or at least the second one. And even if I was giving it the whole view, The Thing was just better made. I was more scared and like felt uneasy during The Thing. With the Scream after the first one, I was just like, I know what's gonna. Pretty much every movie with Scream is the same thing after the first one.
We're talking about Halloween.
Wow.
Yep. Talking about Halloween and The Thing.
Halloween versus The Thing.
Halloween.
It's okay, buddy. You can go home if you want to. We got it from here.
What do you vote for, Isaac?
That was the best moment of this podcast. Not this episode, but this podcast thus far. Okay, so
if we're done talking about The Thing, let me just say, like,
give me your last rights.
These are my last thoughts about The Thing. Like everything's Halloween. It's like right in front of you. You know, you see everything that happens. There's no guessing. There's no like outside thought. The Thing, it was the first movie where it made me go outside of it, like see what theories are out there, like who's a thing at what time, how does a thing work? Is there more than one at a time? And like the ending, like spoiler alert, but the ending of The Thing where it's Kurt Russell and the other guy, you're talking to each other. It's like, oh, then we just wait here for a while, and you're like, oh, is he a thing or is he not a thing? I thought that was a great scene, and it turns out he is a thing because this is just a thing you notice. Kurt Russell's breath, is full, and there's nothing coming out of the other guy's breath. Like there's nothing.
And then also at the end, they gave the person that person to drink something, and it was gasoline, and he didn't like cough or anything like that, which also like resembles that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in the bottle of liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gasoline.
Oh. Wow.
It's from what I thought that I saw that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, because it was just like, let's see like if it's actually the thing or not, because the thing will be like, this is just
See, I didn't even catch that. New things every day.
And he loves the movie, yeah. Okay, and the other side of the semifinals, we have
shit.
the number 7 seed, The Conjuring 2, going up against the number 14 seed, Grave Encounters.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is. I mean, I've never thought about suicide. But
Oh my god.
I still don't, but okay. The Conjuring 2 is my favorite horror movie. One of my favorite horror movies, so it's really tough. And I love Grave Encounters too. Is it one of my favorites? Yeah, but The Conjuring 2 is above it because of how The Conjuring 2 made me feel with its original. Like when Patrick Wilson gets blinded and you see everything from his point of view and you're like, what's going to happen? And it introduces all these like these characters like the nun and the crooked man and just all these different horror elements, and like every horror movie is like down, down, down. Grave Encounters is one of these examples where it just gets progressively worse and worse and down. But Conjuring 2 is that one moment of hope, and it kind of like enlightens you because everything's been so down in this family, and it's a great moment. It's a great roller coaster. Whereas like Grave Encounters is a roller coaster where it's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So in terms of that, because I like the roller coaster, I'm gonna have to go with The Conjuring 2.
Interesting point that you bring up, though. You brought up this character. Her name is the Nun.
The character in this movie, not her own. James Wan did not make the Nun.
All right, so Isaiah kind of puts in what I'm going to say here. So incredibly difficult. I love The Conjuring 2, but I kind of alluded to it earlier. It made a whole universe, and you can't ignore everything it made. Annabelle Creation was actually a pretty decent movie.
Yes, it was.
But the first Annabelle is pure garbage. And I love Conjuring and Conjuring 2, and I can forgive Annabelle because A, it led to Annabelle Creation, which is pretty good, and Annabelle, while it's garbage, it's like whatever, they made a side movie Annabelle. I can't forgive The Conjuring 2 for creating The Nun. the possibly the worst movie of the year this year, and The Nun is great in Conjuring 2. It's one of my favorite parts. And James Wan didn't make The Nun, I get that, but this whole universe has his stamp of approval, and it has Warner Brothers' stamp of approval, and and I love The Conjuring 2, but you know, if The Nun hadn't have come out this year, I might be voting for it. I gotta go Grave Encounters. There is nothing, as much as Grave Encounters is cheesy sometimes and ridiculous, and you have Lance Preston getting sucked into a black hole in Grave Encounters 2, there's nothing as offensive and as terrible as the movie The Nun. So I gotta go with Grave Encounters.
Well,
That's 1-1.
I can tell what you guys are voting for.
It's Grave Encounters, I'm sorry.
I'm Lance Preston.
Yeah.
This is a sweep.
I'm glad The Thing and The Conjuring 2 made it as far as they did. I was going to get really mad if Thanksgiving took it out.
All right, so here we are, boys. This is, I would say, not a very surprising final. I mean, if I had to pick what I would have predicted, this may have been the two for the final. We have the original Halloween going up against Grave Encounters. Now, guys, this could very possibly end in a 2-2 tie, and the higher seed will not win this round. Halloween will not win in a 2-2 tie. So we have to decide what is the best horror movie. Alex, you're going first.
Oh my god. Halloween and Grave Encounters. Okay. Well, you can tell I wanted Conjuring 2 to be in this position, so you can already tell how I feel about Grave Encounters. But I love Halloween, and I love Grave Encounters, but I felt more scared during Grave Encounters. Like, I love Halloween. It's a great movie. It's like, oh wow, this is really interesting. And like the ending twist is great. And the franchise, like, I don't even want to talk about it because I wanted to be fair just to these two movies because the originals are both great, and like Grave Encounters is a better sequel. Halloween has a whole bunch of shit. It's like they kind of just even out, I feel like, because there's good sequels and bad sequels, and there's too good. Oh, this is really tough. Wow.
Just say it, Alex. You know what you want to say.
I gotta go with Grave Encounters. I love POV movies. I love Halloween, but I love Grave Encounters. I love the POV movies. I love how scared it made me feel. The isolation of the Thing. I just wanted to mention the Thing. Both had isolation styles, and I just love Grave Encounters. I'm sorry.
So I'll say, I've already said it before in the It round where I essentially gave up my favorite movie, or not my favorite movie, but my pick to almost voted for Grave Encounters over it, but I didn't. But what I'll say is that when I think of horror movies, I think of a few things, and almost everything I think of takes place in Halloween. You have the theme of Halloween. I think it's not only the greatest horror theme, I think it's the greatest movie theme ever. Ahead of Jaws, ahead of Jurassic Park. I think Halloween's simple theme is amazing. I think of Michael Myers behind the fucking laundry, the sheets, creeping behind there. Everything about that movie is amazing. And just because I know Grave Encounters is going to win at this point, I'm voting for Halloween. But I love Grave Encounters and Grave Encounters 2, and if you haven't seen them, I urge you to seek them out. But I vote Halloween.
And I vote Grave Encounters.
So it comes down to your boy. And y'all are like, I know what he's going to pick. He's going to pick Grave Encounters because, No, here we are. Now I get to tell you what I'm going to pick. What? What?
We're gonna go.
So this is what I'm talking about. Halloween is the iconic horror movie, exactly like what Josh said, and there are so many things that stemmed from that. Another big contender on here? Friday the 13th,
Yeah.
right? That's basically the same idea, just done in a different way. So Halloween is just like the iconic horror movie, and I love Grave Encounters. We all love Grave Encounters, but sometimes when I show people Grave Encounters, they don't like Grave Encounters. So I'm trying to think past the warped perception that I have, because I know if I go around telling everybody that the greatest horror movie of all time is Grave Encounters, 90% of people will be like, I don't know what that is, and then the other 10% will be like, you showed me and it was okay. So I'm Halloween, but I am a teeter-totter on the end of that, so...
I
now.
honestly think outside of Zach, tell me if I'm wrong, but
Probably not wrong.
us three could probably go either way on this.
That's exactly how I feel.
So-
It's tough. I hate being side A or side B because I'm right there.
I think I made my case. Why I chose Halloween in the end. What do you have anything to say, Zach? Can you pull the last bit of your health, of your well-being?
You saved all of your talking points for right now.
I literally saved all of my breath for this one moment in my life. Grave Encounters is the best horror movie because to me, it came from absolutely nowhere. And it turned out to be such a good movie. I heard about this movie from one of Isaiah's and I's friend, and he was just like, you should see this movie, this scared the shit out of me. And we're just like, oh, let's take a look, not thinking anything about it. And I think when we saw that, we were junior or senior in high school.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time since being a little kid that I was generally scared to watch a movie. And I was scared to close my eyes and go to bed at night because I was just thinking of the things that were going on in the movie.
Yeah.
And the second one just completely built off that. Like how Josh said, the second one made the first one even better. That's exactly what it did. Because it filled in every little great spot that you're like, how did this get to this? How did we jump to this? Why are they there? And it just answers everything. And it ends the series, but it also leaves it open for if you want to continue with it.
Which was what every Halloween sequel did too.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because you said Grave Encounters came from nowhere. So did Halloween. Halloween's an independent made film, and it bombed the first first month it was out. No one wanted to see it. Then just word of mouth, it became something kind of like what Grave Encounters is doing, very slowly. But
Grave Encounters didn't even start in the theaters. It went straight to Netflix. I think it was Netflix at the time.
I don't know. But I'd like to take this time to say that Zach has convinced me. I am flipped now. I am Grave Encounters.
Well, now wait. What if I...
But it's Zach's points, and then reflecting back on Josh's points, I was never interested in any POV films. Then I saw Grave Encounters, and I was like, I kind of like the POV format, but then realized that Grave Encounters did POV the right way, and I haven't seen one since that I enjoyed POV. So, I'm Grave Encounters.
So
it's also one of those things where if I'm comparing every single scary movie or horror movie I see nowadays to a movie, it's Grave Encounters first off.
All right.
That's true.
And so let me say this. So my back's against the wall. It's the real one. I think the only one I may be able to convince is Alex. But let me just say this. Halloween, when I think of what a horror movie is, I think of Halloween. I think if Halloween didn't come out, sure, we had Night of the Living Dead, we had other horror movies. but if Halloween didn't come out, we might not even have horror as a genre we have today. What will I watch every October, every Halloween time? I will watch Halloween, not just because the name's Halloween, because it's genuinely terrifying. But what will I watch throughout the rest of the year? What will I watch when my friends are over to sleep over? What will I watch when I'm bored? I'm going to watch Grave Encounters, and that's why I'm flipping. So there you have it. Did you think it was Grave Encounters? You were right. It won the tournament, if you know any of us. All right.
Oh, that was a dude.
That was great.
Wow.
I just want to say thank you, Zach, for coming to this. I truly did not think you were going to make it, and I was devastated because without you here, I don't think Grave Encounters would have won. And not only just that, but I'm just so glad you made it and worked through this. So just thank you for your commitment there.
No problem. Sorry for the awkward pauses where I would have to get up and go get sick, but hopefully those will be gone through editing.
Alex, thanks for coming on.
I want to thank you guys for having me on. That was so much fun. I'm duking it out with you guys. Defending my favorite movies against your favorite movies was, I can't even explain how fun it was. It was amazing. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you are welcome anytime. I will reiterate the point that you are my favorite guest that we've had so far.
Yeah, easily.
One of these days when you're famous, remember me. I'll interview you. We'll get like 10 more views than normal. No, I think we got quite a bit of views because of the American Spirits episode. But
we did. Our 3 episodes this month, they've blown up. I mean, it's small. I'm not saying we have fucking a huge following.
We're huge.
Yeah,
No,
but compared to where we were, we've had, doubled, tripled our viewership, and I thank everyone out there, whoever the hell is watching for that. We have people in the Netherlands watching us. We have people in Chicago watching us.
That's awesome.
Listening to us. I mean,
yeah.
So
thank you all.
It's very surprising, and we started this just as I don't know why you guys wanted to start it, but I just wanted to start it because I wanted to hang out with you guys and talk about shit that we like. So I love that it's been successful thus far. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Email us if you have any questions. Do you think our tournament is bullshit? Let us know.
Yeah, do you think
Tweet
our
us all your
decision is
hate.
heavily biased? It probably is, but you can bitch about us in the comments.
And one more thing, guys. We're going to be posting this episode on Twitter. We're going to tweet out the episode. It'll be pinned to our profile once we tweet it. If you retweet that tweet and follow us as well on Twitter, that's all you have to do. You'll be entered into a drawing for an Amazon gift card. So go ahead and do that. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Isaiah, what do you have to say?
Shit, I got ganked by that one. I'm playing some games on my own right now. Haven't really been doing any streaming or YouTubing, but you know where to find me, at PHPISlaya. That'll be the best way to find out what I'm doing. Alex, you got anything you want to plug for the lovely listeners?
Twitter, Instagram, Alex Daniels AGD. YouTube, search Alex Daniels. Unfortunately, wrestler or what? I'm
search Alex Daniels.
Yeah, I'm not the football player. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my YouTube. The Halloween series drained me, so I'm going to try to think of something.
And you can find me at Zaxi _ and I know it.
Or the hospital.
Or the hospital, hopefully.
Thank you to American Spirits. Thank you for letting us interview you, and thank you for your song, Blanket Forts.
Yeah,
and
they're going to have new music coming out here soon. They're dropping a single the day after Halloween, so tomorrow, when this comes out. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to be on tour at the beginning of November, so I have the dates for those. We talked about it in the American Spirits episode. If you want to check them out, let me know, and I can get you those dates.
All right.
Other than that,
that's about it.
I think that's...
Have a happy Halloween and go watch Grave Encounters.
I'm not content with the